last Parliament meeting of the semester. Just please be silent for roll call.
Joshua Percy.
Here.
James Fielding.
Here.
Genesis Garcia.
Present.
Janelle Gomez.
Here.
Julio Baroa.
Here.
Haley Roan. Here. Catherine Enos.
Here.
Alexis Polonsky. Here. Derek Powers.
Here.
Valerie Endress.
Here.
Rosalind Sibilski. Here. Tamika Worthlow-Williams. Here. Arthur Patrick.
Here.
Robert Smith.
Present. Thank you. Seeking a motion to approve the agenda. I have one from Janelle and one from Ms. Enos. Thank you. Approval. All those in favor?
No.
Any discussion?
Any discussions?
Yes, so we need to table Robert preschool because, she won't be able to be here tonight. So I'd like to remove her from the agenda.
Motion to second that table. Thank you.
Any discussion?
Any discussions on that? Awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Objections? Abstentions? Awesome. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of, any further discussions? Sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Abstentions? Abstentions? Awesome. Speakers? Oh, okay. Approval of the minutes of November 7th, 2018. I have one from Ms. Brown and one from Ms. Garcia. Any discussions? Any discussions? Awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm just kidding, I wasn't here.
Okay. Awesome. Right, we have a speaker from Dr. Duchang. Thank you. Associate Vice President for Student Success.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say congratulations on your final meeting this semester. I know it's been a long time coming, so holidays are coming up, so that's great. But thank you for inviting me to come in to talk about Starfish. I know this is actually perfect timing. And so we have been, so I started in August. One of the first initiatives on my agenda for this year is helping to implement Starfish, which is an online retention, early alert / academic advising tool for students to use. Starfish is actually a pretty good tool. It's actually pretty popular across college campuses, particularly campuses like Rhode Island College. A lot of public schools do use it. But we are actually in the process. What I would do is I'm going to hand out handouts too. There's a lot of information on this. So what I would recommend is that if you have any further questions after our session today, feel free to reach out to me. But I will pass it this way. One of the things that I've learned in my 4 months here is that there is what we call the big runaround. And I know that Dr. Merriweather has really worked hard to put together a proposal with CCRI. CCRI is actually implementing Starfish as well, to the same time we are, to see if we could get a grant from the state to implement this tool, this online tool to support students. Essentially what it is that it allows students to be able to do a couple of things, to really connect with their faculty advisors on a different level, but also for instructors and faculty and staff across the campus to readily and early enough in the early semesters to identify students who may be having difficulty with courses, maybe having what we call sort of life happens, right, to you, and so we really want to do a much better job. We as in Rhode Island College really want to do a better job of identifying students who may need assistance in the beginning of the semester rather than waiting until the mid-semester or the end of the semester. The Starfish tool allows there's a couple of features on it, and I'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing in terms of planning for Starfish, but I just wanted to kind of talk through why we picked Starfish and then the features that we're focusing on to perhaps roll out in the next couple of years. Why Starfish? Starfish, again, is a student success retention tool. Right now, Rhode Island College, our retention rate, particularly for first-year students who've been moving to their sophomore year, is about mid-70s, and that's actually not bad. But I think we can always be better. In terms of graduation rate, you're actually in the low 60s, which again is not bad, but we can always do better. And so we really want to be able to not only increase retention of students, keep the students here at Rhode Island College, and then making sure they persist to graduation. We also want to make sure that we're able to identify students early enough so that we can be more proactive. And we talk a lot about, instead of being reactive, waiting for something to happen, we really want to be proactive. And so this tool allows that as well too. A couple of the features that Starfish has, the first one I actually think is really cool, particularly for our students today. There's a feature called Raise Your Hand. And this is a feature in which if a student does not know where to go, they can at least go on, and Starfish has a mobile app as well too. They can either go on Starfish on the computer or mobilely, and they can actually raise their hand for a particular issue. Right now we have a brainstorm, academic, having challenges or having a hard time in a course, having sort of needing assistance with academic concerns, whether it's academic advising, academic planning. They're raising their hand via this mobile app. There is we've brainstormed a flag called Raise Your Hand for Life social/life circumstances. And a lot of this is actually what Learning for Life is already doing, but now it's an opportunity for students to actually just go through the mobile app to do that. So that's one feature, the Raise Your Hand flag, which I actually really like. Another feature is the early alerts. And we are in the process of talking with faculty and staff, and we'll continue to engage with students to say what types of flags might be of interest to us to know if the student is perhaps not doing well. So one of them, for example, is attendance. We find that particularly in the first 5 or 6 weeks, the students are not, actually in the first couple of weeks, students are not attending classes. But typically it's a domino effect. You miss classes and you start to decide and so on and so forth. So instructors and faculty members are able to raise a flag of a student, and then someone will follow up and intervene. So that's just an example of a flag that we might configure for Starfish. Along with the early alert, there's also the kudos, which is sort of a celebration of, hey, I see that you're doing much better in this course, great job, and that sort of thing. So we can kind of configure that. The third feature that we are looking at is this, they call it Connect. But in other words, a student's ability to go on a mobile app and make an appointment with a staff member or a faculty member, easier than having to swap emails, 5 times before you make an appointment with someone, or showing up to someone's office and not really knowing if you can make an appointment at that time. So, and that has the ability to integrate with Office 365 as well too. So there's a scheduling piece of Starfish. Essentially, our plan is that Starfish, those particular features, we've got sort of team members who are working as a functional team to look at how we're going to roll this out, what types of flags we're going to roll out, because we want to make sure that what we're doing in Starfish also mirrors what's happening on our campus to build up to our capacity. And so those who are involved, you can see on the front cover of the page, those that who are involved specifically as a functional team. Trees from Oasis will be working on the early alert kudos working group. Joyce Garson from Learning for Life will be working on the Raise Your Hand. Demetria Morin from Career Development is working on the Connect scheduling pieces. So there's a couple of us who will be working on these working groups, and they'll be reaching out to students to participate in that working group as well, because we need to, we can sit here and figure out all we want as faculty and staff members, but if it doesn't sort of make sense on the user end, meaning y'all, then sort of it's pointless. So I would also encourage that if you are interested in working in one of these working groups, let me know, and I can definitely connect you with one of the team leaders for those as well. So I can go on and on about Starfish, but I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of what it is. But ultimately, I think for me, I just want to decrease the running around. I want students to be able to raise their hand and be able to reach out and say, I have a concern, and someone would follow up maybe in a much quicker way that really works for our students. So, any questions?
All right, so I have 2 questions and a comment.
Yes.
Whew. And, all right, we talked about this at an evening meeting. First, you brought it to our attention. So my main concern as a brick student, I do not like the flag thing. I think that before this kicks off, if this were to kick off, I think you guys should have a town hall meeting or something to let us be aware of the flag situation. Personally, as a brick student, my professor's not paying my tuition. So if I don't show up to class, like, I'm gonna see the consequences already in my grades. Like, 'cause some teachers like, all right, if you don't show up to class, you deduct your grade, you know. Like, and for me, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, if I'm taking an easy class, I won't show up, but I'm still doing my assignments, I'm still getting A's, but I won't show up. So like, at the end of the day, that's my decision as an adult, I choose that, but I would not appreciate being flagged. I'll feel like I'm in high school, because in high school, that's more like, you know, but like, I don't know, we're in college, I feel like, I'm paying for the class, if I don't show up, that's my money, like, you know? So like, I don't know, like, the flag thing, that's kind of like, I'm kind of worried about that. Because like, I'm also worried like if that's gonna be on my record, if like, you know, if I apply for a job here on campus, if I want to be at the library or something, they're like, oh, but you have like 3 flags because you missed class. Like, I don't want that on my academic record. So the flag thing, I think, I'm not comfortable with that, and I think that you guys should let other students know and see how they feel about that. Like, their concessions first, like, you know, let's say, I could be part of the 1% that feels that's uncomfortable, and then you might have like 90% of students who are okay with the flag. But I still, like I said, like, the important thing is that students be aware of that, right? So that if this does kick off, and if, you know, people are getting flagged, they don't know about it, like, oh, school never let me know this is, you know, how can I get flagged for, like, because I didn't go to, you know, class and stuff, so.
Yeah.
The flag thing, I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be an issue with
Yeah.
students, so I think that's something you guys need to, so that's my comment. My question when it comes to the flags is, like, because, you know, I'm not really educated on it, but, like, how bad would it be if I got flagged, like if,
So that's a really good question, yeah. So flags will not go on any academic record.
okay,
So that's the first thing. So it really is, so even if a flag shows up on Starfish, it's not going to be translated to anything that's going to move on with you, on your academic record. So that's really important to know, and that's something that it's actually good for me to make sure that when we start sharing this information with students, we make that very clear with students that it's not something that will sort of carry on with your academic record. But I think you also bring up a good point, because every school configures Starfish differently, based on the landscape of the institution. So you're right, you have the choice to attend a class as many times as you want. Maybe what we need to consider is that maybe it's not just the attendance flag, maybe it's, so for example, we have 2 levels of attendance right now. We've got no attendance, the student hasn't responded, but this means that, so we could call it, it's habitual attendance, which means that it's consistent, combined with low test grades, combined with low assignment, so not handing an assignment. So it wouldn't be sort of a standalone flag, it would be, so we're seeing multiple types of behaviors and performances, or lack of performances that are contributing to that. So, but thank you for that, and I think it really will help us frame how we communicate to students.
honestly, what would be a really good compromise?
Yeah.
I think you should keep the flags for freshmen, because I was a freshman, I'm gonna tell you, I did not go to class. And there's 2 types of freshmen. The freshman that goes to class, the freshman that doesn't go to class, and spends the whole time in indoors partying. I was that freshman, okay? So I think the flags would be perfect for the freshmen, because I regret the path I chose as a freshman. I would be on track right now. And so your freshman year dictates how the rest of your years are gonna go, especially if you're undecided. So the flag is I think the flag is way more appropriate for freshmen, because we want to keep them, retention, we want to keep them,
Right.
so that's just my compromise, that's just my.
And Genesis, you are really smart, because the points that you're bringing up, so Starfish, retention tools like Starfish usually are more targeted towards first-year students, because they're not, I mean, we think about, for those of you who, who sort of recollect your first year, just like what Genesis said, is that you're going through so many different types of transitions and stuff like that, and that's really the high point in your college experience where sometimes it's either make or break it. And so this type of retention tool is targeted towards first-year students mostly. I mean, we still do it going on in sophomore year or 5th or 6th year, but some of the earlier look flags are usually targeted towards first-year students. So,
Thank you for that. And I have another question or a comment. As a student, yes, we're always on our phone. and stuff like that. But like, have you ever thought about how like maybe like this might be hard for some students to keep up because we already have Blackboard, you know, and some people don't really go on Blackboard. So like, it's like, is there any way that these features could be added onto Blackboard so that we're not overwhelmed? Because I feel like some students might feel overwhelmed. They're like, all right, I have Blackboard, but I also have Starfish. I'm getting flagged on Starfish. But then I go on Blackboard to like let me know, like, because I feel like some of these features could be on Blackboard. So like, that would be one thing, you know?
Yeah.
But then again, I do get what you're saying, like, some of this is targeted towards first-year students. But like, I don't know if you guys ever thought about that. 'Cause
Yeah,
even when I-
actually Starfish thought about that, so
Yeah.
they do have the ability to integrate with Blackboard.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know if you guys want to take away the shine from Blackboard, like, you know, because I know some professors, they might, I don't know, like, are you guys making a requirement that every professor use this?
We're not making it a requirement, we haven't really sort of thought about the rollout, but it's something that I think we would highly recommend. It's not something that we require them to do it.
Because I'm gonna be honest, like, judging by some of these professors, I think some of them will be remarkable for Starfish,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, because some professors, like, because on the syllabus, it'll be like, hey, so when they go over the syllabus, it'll be like, all right, you need to come to class, I'm making that requirement. If you don't come to class, I'll deduct your grade, like, you know, and then they talk about Blackboard, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just wanted to.
Yeah, we thought about, so going back to your point about, looking at the first year students,
Yeah.
so we know that Oasis already has the sales, sort of a homegrown early alert, particularly for the first year writing, first year seminar courses. So we're thinking about maybe perhaps, using Starfish to roll that out first within that context first. But, I mean, I just know that any sort of technology implementation, you're not going to get 100% all the way. So those are things that we're going to try to work on. But going back to the Blackboard, so Starfish does link up with Blackboard. Right now, it's not in our plans just yet.
Okay.
But we are also looking at, so IT is actually going to be helping us work on sort of the single sign-on, so it's, you're using your credentials, at least it's the same username and password. We're hoping to build out sort of a landing page, a website for Starfish. New students who come to Rhode Island College, whether they're a new first-year student or transfer student, they will learn about Starfish right at orientation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that to you.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my suggestion. I highly recommend when the day that this goes out, you do like a tutorial thing for first year students during orientation so that they can get a grasp of how to use it.
Right.
So when the first day of school, they already know how to use it and stuff. So, and then one more thing, will this take any attention away from our learning and like, because they are a huge asset and stuff, and I don't want like to just not go there. I want them to still utilize that.
Right.
Space.
That's a great question. I don't think it will, and Joyce is actually on our functional team as well too. So, and it kind of goes back to, I think, with technology, it shouldn't really ever create something new. It should really mirror what we're already doing. And I think what it will actually help, and Joyce and I have actually had this conversation as well too, is that, we're thinking that when Starfish rolls out, we're probably going to get a lot of flags raised. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You think about it, at first, the first couple of years, I think particularly the first year, we were going to be inundated with a lot of flags. But that's a good thing because these are the students who actually are not walking into learning to fly. These are the students who we haven't heard about. So we find that it's a good thing, but it's definitely not going to take over learning to fly.
Is there going to be an app?
Starfish does have a
So,
mobile app.
Is it going to track where you are? So let's say I don't go to class and I lie, like, oh, I'm sick, I'm at the hospital. Really, I'm at home because I stayed up all night binge watching.
No, it won't do that.
Okay.
It won't do that.
I'll say no.
Well, I preface that by saying I don't mean the technology in general, you never know what technology is on the back end, but that is not how we play.
I work to learn by teaching that I was right. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Valerius?
A couple of questions. One is, I am a little concerned about the flagging and student privacy issues. And, it's one thing that we connect with the student to tell them, hey, you haven't been in class. This is an issue. It's another if it goes beyond that and we think they need help with other kinds of interventions. So I am a little concerned about the coordination of the flag. How private is this? And do other people get involved in it when they don't really need to at that point?
Yeah,
And so there's that issue for me. And then I don't understand the connection between this and the BET and how that works.
yeah, and we've talked about that, so I'll talk about the first point. So, in the process of configuring Starfish, so let's just say, like, for the example of the early alert, habitual non-attendance, so a student is not attending classes, has not been attending classes, let's say when we say habitual, we mean, on a consistent basis, where they're not doing well academically in the course. We can configure it to give we think about the workflow, so the instructor may raise the flag on the particular student who hasn't been attending classes for 2 weeks straight and now has, is not doing well in class. It would then be assigned to someone who would have a certain set of privileges, meaning that they can only view it, certain information about a student may be seen or not seen. So we are able to really tailor it to allow only certain individuals. And typically, so for example.
And faculty can control that? So if we
On the
find
back end.
somebody, we could for us, we could send them an email too.
Right.
So can we have control over whether somebody sees that or not? Because there can be temporary slippage where a student just needs a nudge and say, hey, wake up here,
Mhm.
you got a lot to do.
Right.
And that to me doesn't mean that we call in the troops.
Right.
We give that student a chance or an opportunity to correct, their course.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and those are the things and that's why we're trying to sort of engage with faculty, particularly faculty advisors and instructors on this particular configuration because a non-attendance is just not a student not showing up. There's other things that are happening that sometimes students don't have to disclose to a certain instructor or even the faculty advisor. And so we need to really, so Therese is working with Michelle Berger-Gammon on sort of that configuration piece. And they're actually, I think, talking with a couple of faculty on Friday. We'll have multiple sessions where we can invite faculty to come in on just this type of conversation and say, in certain types of situations where we don't want to disclose information about why students not showing up in class, where should we go then, if not Starfish? But I think in terms of Starfish itself, it would be the instructor who's raising that flag, it would be their discretion to decide if they want to raise it within Starfish. If they know it's a sensitive topic, then obviously it's either myself or, so the BET one, I think is a little different in terms of, actually, I would say that, and we've talked about this in terms of like, what is the difference between Starfish? Starfish itself is more sort of academically based, so it's academic, so a student needing interventions for academic purposes, as well as academic advising. Whereas BET is more of, really, it could be that, but it could be much more than that as well too. I think my suggestion, and it's something that maybe perhaps Tamika and I need to talk a little bit more about this as well too, is to say, if in fact it is a non-attendance concern that has a lot more than just the student not attending class, then you would want to use BET because there's a lot more to it than that. So, but these are the types of conversations that we need to have in order to make sure that we configure. In Starfish, even if we say we configure it now, it doesn't mean that we can't evolve as well too.
Okay.
It'll be an evolution for sure.
Okay.
But those are very good points.
First, I want to say thank you, Dr. Hang, for coming in, and I think this was awesome to hear about. When talking about the early alerts, I don't want to talk too much about it because I know that my other representatives have talked about it, but I do want to ask, does this have anything, the flags affect class registration? Because I know that it's very tedious when I get a flag level for me to get that off, for me to register for classes, and then my class is full.
Yeah.
So.
Great question. Just similar to Jefferson's point, question about the impact of academic records, it actually does not have any, it won't hold you back from registering for classes.
And I have another question. My other question was, I read in here that it gives you a degree plan where it gives you what if situations. I myself am a science major, so I am always, what if my GPA is this? What if my GPA is that? Is that the what if situation that it would plan, or are you talking more in terms of like future classes and longevity?
your academic classes. So I think we have what we call roadmaps here. So similar to that, but it's more, I think it's sort of a quicker way to say, you know, especially for exploring majors as well too. We're talking about first year students, right? So students comes in and they're exploring chemistry, you know, and they say, well, I don't know if I want to do chemistry anymore, I want to be a sociology major. And they can use the degree plan to say, what if I change from chemistry to sociology? How would my pathway towards graduation look like now? So that is what the degree planner is. That is a feature that we're going to hold off on just for now until we kind of, you know, work through the other stuff, because it does take a lot more time to make sure that the degree planners match up with our academic program and the requirements for each of the majors. But you do bring up a good point about the GPA calculator. I often find that it's really hard to find one at certain universities. But you can find one, if you Google, you can find one. But the GPA calculator, I make a note to make sure we have it somewhere on our website. So.
And last question, and it was, the flags, would they be going up, well, two questions. Flags, would they be going up through midterms, or would they be going up when grades are posted through Blackboard? Because I know that, at least for me, I don't really see my grades or progress, so to say, unless I talk to a professor, or I get my midterm grade, or my grade in my Blackboard, if I use the Blackboard and stuff like that.
So the flags actually won't, there is an opportunity to configure Starfish in a way where if we integrate with Blackboard and, you know, grades are posted on Blackboard, we can build it so that the midterm grades are flagged. As of right now, we're not going to do that. So if a student does receive a flag, what it would actually do, so if a student, for example, receives a flag for, this is just an example, I'm not saying that we're actually going to do it just yet, but there's a flag that's focused on sort of reoccurring low test slash quiz slash assignment grades, right? So, you know, the student has performed poorly on multiple quizzes that their grade in that course is going down. And so an instructor can actually raise a flag. When they do raise a flag, what it does is it sends an email to the student saying, hey, I've noticed that A, B, and C. And so then that's a way to prompt the student to then connect with a faculty member. I mean, this is, you know, sometimes it already happens in the class, verbally, sometimes via email, but at least that will happen. So it's not that sophisticated just yet in terms of, you know, midterm grade or grades being put on Blackboard and syncing up with Starfish, because we haven't done it that way just yet, but that's something that we might consider down the line. I'm not sure anytime soon would be the case, so I don't know if that answers your question.
The other thing is, I believe that the Starfish is actually all the instructor telling the Starfish, hey, you're not doing great, and the Starfish talking to you. So is that basically what it's just like intermediate?
Intermediate, yeah. I mean, so one of the things, so like right now, and we're all kind of, again, still in the brainstorming session. So like we've got 2 attendance flags right now. One is a no attendance, but it's just the instructor sort of poking the student, say, hey, you know, I'm noticing you, that, you know, I haven't seen your class, and that sort of is the ability for the student to say, to connect with the instructor. Then the second level of attendance is if that student has been contacted via Starfish by the instructor and they're continuing to miss class on a regular basis and still not performing well, then a flag is raised so that a faculty advisor or staff would then intervene and try to reach out to the student. And sometimes we try to do it in a way where, and this is just for some circumstances, like if a student's part of the PET program or part of McNair, for example, then it would be their PET advisor to say, hey, like, because they have a relationship with that student, right? And this goes back to Dr. Anderson's question about, you know, who sees what, and that's, so we'll need to think about those types of privileges in terms of who will follow through with that big flag. Kayla?
For overlays?
I only had a few comments to make. One of the positive sides of Starfish is that it also gives out what's referred to as kudos. Within my master's program, there were professors who utilized this function more so than anything else because they wanted students to know where they stood, and they gave a lot of their feedback back just as a general check-in, here's where we're going. Great job on the last assignment. If the student did outstanding or met their criteria, or whatever they felt was good work. The second piece that I did want to share is that I definitely understand the concerns about the flags and the reservations. Just wanted to share in terms of this discussion on balance, how helpful it is when a little bit more proactive response is taken on the front end. In my office, we see, in my first semester here, I don't know how many students I've dealt with who just stopped going to class. And they were unaware that when they stopped going to class, the bill did not stop, right? So you still got charged for this semester because you haven't officially let the institution know that you do not intend to be here. But those students have responded and shared, I thought by not attending, you get the point, right? And so you have to have those delicate conversations with students to let them know that right now, I know that you stopped attending for a personal reason, right? Health-related concern, financial concern, whatever that really serious issue was that prevented you from going to class. But at this time, the reality is we still have a bill we have to settle. And so how are we going to do that? In addition, there are some students who don't know the process to withdraw because they thought, well, I was failing, so if I just stop showing up, they'll just let me go, right? So now not only do you have a balance, you have some not so positive grades on your transcript that you at this time are forced to have. And so we have to work through that. But if there were a tool or intervention method that could kind of prompt a person to say, hey, you haven't been here in weeks, are you still with us or are you not? And the student can share, oh, I thought I left you when you knew that, right? Then we could respond and say, there's actually a process to do that. And you're gonna need to do that soon. Because if you don't, I wanna let you know some of the responsibilities that are gonna be associated at the end of the semester that unfortunately you're gonna be obligated to, in a sense, right? So it helps with the financial piece because we see students who are leaving for a specific reason, but they're not withdrawing officially in order to take care of the very reason that they're trying to leave, right?
So, I have a question about differentiating flags. So like, can flags be differentiated? So like, say a student is not attending, but still doing their work, would they even get a flag? Or would that be different than a student who's like struggling in a class and also not attending?
Yeah, it would be a difference because, so the flags are, there's a whole list of flags that we can configure, but again, we want to make sure that the flags, for me, I don't want to roll up too many flags, because it's too much, but you think about what are the primary reasons as to why students do not do well in a course. It's the non-attendance, but it's non-attendance coupled with low test grades, not handing an assignment. So there is a differentiation between, a student, if a student's not going to class and still doing well, I mean, and it really is up to the instructor, you all have your CILI, you can see sort of the grading requirements, but sometimes attendance does count as, is part of your grade. So you can kind of do the math and say, okay, if I do all my work, and I don't attend class, this is what my grade will be. But it's really, the flags are really for the students who are not attending class, but also doing poorly as well too, and not handing in assignments. Because all of those types of performances or lack of performance really, is something that we need to catch before it gets worse for the student. Their academic experience.
Kai?
So I think it's a really great program. Maybe this sets me apart. I really think the early alert plans are a good idea because it does make it easier. It seems like it makes it easier for professors to reach out, which is important because a lot of them, I would say, like my experience is that some professors kind of tiptoe around like what's academic and what's personal. So I think it's good in that way that it kind of is just like, hey, I'm concerned about your grade. Maybe there's some underlying program problem that's going on. So, but my question is, how will this be implemented to the faculty? Because it's a good program, but it can't be good if it doesn't work,
Right. Yeah, and so Starfish will only be successful based on what we put in there, right? So I think I think that's a tough call because I always, I've been working with the team, which also includes the IT department and also includes the representatives of Starfish. I often start off with, what are we already doing that we can continue doing? So, and I give the example of Oasis working with the first year writing and first year seminar instructors on helping to identify students who have those types of flags, right? And so that may be one of the areas that we may roll out first and really target the instructors who are teaching those courses to say, hey, you've already been doing this, using the sales form with Oasis. The Starfish is similar, could you continue doing it, but now use Starfish instead? And so it won't be this whole blast we require all, recommending all faculty to do. We might do it in phases where, what's already happening, and, let's continue to do that, use Starfish, and then where are some areas or some departments where it's sort of an easier transition out of those two. And I recognize the challenge that it will be to get the entire campus community on board with Starfish. Not to say no one wants to be on it, it's just that, let's say within the academic department, so like nursing, the School of Nursing does it differently than the School of Social Work, in terms of advising. So there's a lot of things that we have to consider, but I start off with what are we already doing that is similar to Starfish, and that is with the instructor teaching the first year writing and seminar courses. So that's just an example.
Josh?
Thank you. I wanted to thank you for coming because when I went to go talk about it and write about this after the RIC Council meeting, I kind of sat there and I was like, I don't really know how to explain this to everyone.
Yeah.
Because at that meeting, I was kind of sitting there in my head and I could see kind of steam coming out of my ears. I'm like, isn't this just Microsoft and Blackboard and PeopleSoft all combined into one? But then after sitting down and hearing about it multiple different times, it kind of changed my opinion on it. While I might not like the flag of not going to class, that's perfectly fine because I get a flag, somebody reaches out to me and is like, yeah, I made a choice not to go to class, end of discussion. There it is. But then maybe this isn't about us. I thought about it because it's about retention and graduation. That's what it's about. It's making sure that we get there, whether we like getting flagged or not. It's about the person next to you who might be struggling in a class and the professor doesn't really want to help them. But they put attendance in the Starfish, they put their grades in the Starfish, and Starfish notices that you're not doing well, and then somebody reaches out to them, and maybe that changes their path from dropping out to continuing on. This might not affect those who are doing good in school, and they might sit here and be like, I'm going to get flagged for missing one class, I don't like that. But it's more than that. It's more about trying to get people, helping people get to graduation and retaining them through freshman year, through senior year, because some people don't want it. Some people refuse help. Starfish at least gives them another option. It makes sure that people reaches out because it's tough for people to ask for help. I don't like asking for help. So I kind of wish that I had this. I've had a tough semester. I've chosen not to go to some of the classes, but those were my choices. I wish I had something like this. That's just me. Sometimes we're here late, and I have an 8 a.m. class in the morning, Thursday mornings. I got an exam tomorrow morning. Look at this big, long list of agenda. But those types of things, I think that we need to, when I was thinking about this, I said, I don't do that. But I'm sure there's somebody on campus who does. Whether we think that the kudos might be childish, somebody might need an encouraging reminder like, hey, you're doing great in this class, good job. Those type of things. We need to remember when I was, after reading this and hearing from a couple different people around campus explain it a little bit better to me, is that this is going to be something that's going to help Rhode Island College hugely when it comes to retention rate and graduation rate. We all want to get out of here eventually. And this is going to help us. And I think that faculty is key. Because I have faculty members that I have teachers that don't take attendance. But they'll say that if you miss more than 3 classes, you're going to fail. I've proven that wrong multiple times. But I think faculty is key because if they just put in a little bit of effort or Starfish, it could help those students who are going to struggle. And I would say that the faculty members that want to do this are already the faculty members that are reaching out to students when they see them struggling in classes. So it's those professors that refuse to use Blackboard, don't answer emails on the weekend when students are asking questions. It's those type of faculty that are going to be key to changing this game, because once they get on board with this, students are going to be able to get through those classes a lot easier. Those classes that the students tell you are hard, those professors are hard, once Starfish gets put into place, those classes might become easier. Those professors might be easier to reach. They might find that be easier to help students that way. They might not be great with face-to-face help. Maybe the interface can help with that. So, I mean, at first I was 100% against this. My apologies. But I do think that this is something that is going to help Rick immensely when it comes to retention and graduation.
Thank you.
Rob? So I'll take us off the flags for a minute. When I was at Rick for a period of time, my number one problem when it came to faculty was always the ones with sort of, use a millennials term, ghost on you. I know I had trouble meeting with my academic advisor. I know many of the students who had trouble meeting with the academic advisor. And many times I never had this trouble, but you structured the classroom. What policies or mechanisms will you guys put in place to make sure that the faculty use this to keep engaged with students and not just ignore it?
Yeah, so, so that has been a topic of conversation for us, not necessarily requiring faculty advisors to use this, but more about for the faculty advisors who don't use it, you know, and there's a lot of reasons as to why. I mean, some departments have, you know, a caseload of 10 advisees, whereas other departments have a caseload of 50 advisees. So there are reasons as to why, you know, and some faculty advisors they just ignore students. I do that too. So, you know, I'm not, you know, blind to that at all. I hear that often since I've been here. And so the question is, if for students who are not able to connect with a faculty advisor, who would be the next stop? Because at the end of the day, we can't really require a faculty advisor to meet with a student. It's tough, okay? However,
Sorry, go on.
but this is the reality. It's not just a Rick thing. You know, my former institution, it was like that as well too. You always have your great advisors. We all know who those advisors are, and then you all know who the other advisors are, right? The ones that, you know, you send 10 emails and you don't get a response at all. So it is something that, you know, a lot of universities experience. The question that we've been trying to answer is, if in fact a faculty advisor is unresponsive to a flag, we need to have a backup plan, because at the end of the day, that student needs to connect with a person who actually wants to really support the student. And so who would that person be? Maybe it's an advisor in OASIS. Maybe it's, you know, so these are the things that we're talking about. And again, it's easier to say it than actually, you know, it's difficult because, again, advising happens differently in every school, in every department. So we want to make sure that we are, you know, appreciating and modeling how advising is done in certain departments. You know, I sat down with the youth development program, and they talked about their advising model, and I was blown away. I was like, this is a great advising model, and they see themselves using Starfish. But other departments may do it differently because their advising model is different as well too. And so we do want to make sure that we encourage all faculty advisors to use this. At the end of the day, we will always have a percentage of faculty advisors who don't respond, and it's our duty, you know, the team's duty, to really make sure that we do have a backup plan to make sure that student does connect with someone. Because if a faculty advisor is not responding to a flag or emails, you really want the student to meet that faculty advisor, you know. So, and that's just me being very transparent with you all about that. The one thing, to your point and to Josh's point about, you know, that this tool is really great for retention and graduation, and, you know, making sure that, you know, we connect students to, encourage faculty advisors to work with students. One of the things that I've learned with this process of working with the folks to really sort of start thinking about how we are going to launch Starfish is that on the student services side, I've learned that there are a lot of gaps. So in the process of implementing Starfish, it's also like we're doing a study on Rhode Island College itself in terms of student support services. And I have the ability, because I'm new, to say, why are we doing it this way? You know, why is it that on a student's record, when they pull up, let's say, an exploring student, why is it that it says their academic advisor, it says OASIS advisor? Why is it not a person's name? You know, and those types of practices lead to better student success stories. Because as a student, if you see someone's name versus OASIS advisor, you know, it feels different, you know. So we're learning a lot. It's also kind of a research project. I'm studying Rick's workflows and processes as well too. So it's been eye-opening as well.
First, I want to say the raise your hand tool, I totally am with you for. Things happen in people's lives, and mental health is not an issue, and people are more and more acknowledging it, and that is something that needs to be acknowledged, especially in the college realm. But I also just wanted to add more of like the joking humor. I would never want to owe Dr. Tanika Williams any type of money. You heard her? She was like, I'm gonna get my money. You don't owe us that bill. I was like, hey, but thank you.
I think the last one, right? So with that being said, like obviously the topic of discussion with King Starfish was the flags. So my suggestion is I highly recommend having like a town hall meeting, something like that. We can 1000% facilitate that. It'll give us a topic for for a town hall. We'll be there to represent. We'll also hold questions and stuff like that since we now are informed. So so basically, I'm just trying to say is the flag thing is right. That's going to be something that you guys would try to get a consensus of from other students, you know. So, because like I get she's for the flags, and she, for me, I'm kind of like, I'm affected by it. I'm mostly just scared because like I don't want I don't know. I pay my own tuition. I don't need I made the decision to wake up and go to class and I don't need to be reprimanded. I accept the consequence that if my grades are going down, I accept it. It's fine. C's in my house is. I can live with them, sorry. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So thank you so much for coming today.
And I know we were just playing, I just want to put it out there for the record. I would never want a student to even try to leave if they face a financial burden. I would prefer to review and exhaust every available resource before a student took that chance. I'm just going to say that.
Scary.
Thank you. Any other discussions? James?
Just a question. Raise your hand. Student asks a question and asks for help. What happens if the professor doesn't respond?
So the raise your hand flag, that's a good question. The raise your hand flag is actually, we've got certain what we call triage staff members who would actually respond to a certain type of flag. So there are, actually, I take that back. So raise your hand. So there are a couple of different types of raise your hand flags. Raise your hand, social/life circumstances. It would actually be the person who received that raise your hand from a student would be a staff member from Learning for Life because they're already doing that kind of work where, sometimes Learning for Life becomes that first stop of I need help with something. So that particular raise your hand is assigned to a staff member of Learning for Life. Raise your hand flag for sort of wellness, health concerns right now. We're still trying to figure out if it's going to be someone in health services or if it's going to be, so it would be a staff person responding to that. The only one that would be connected to sort of a faculty member, it would be raise your hand for having a challenging time in this course. So it would be the actual instructor who's teaching the course. Hopefully the instructor would respond to that. But that just give you some examples of how we triage those types of raise your hand flags.
Yeah, I like when you asked that because I was going to say, can we get an option to flag professors then? I'm serious. like, we should be with the flag buses if they're gonna be flagging us. Like, yeah, if you gave me a flag, right, and someone, I used to raise your hand to it, and I don't ever talk for 2 weeks, I use a flag, and that's a flag right there. Like, I'm asking for attention.
I don't expect we should do that, but imagine.
I got you, please.
Any other discussions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to open forum. Anybody here for open forum? Anybody here for open forum? Once more. Anybody here for open forum? Open forum is closed. Officers' announcements. Proceed.
I don't have much. I'm going to be talking later for council report, appointments and resignations and vacancies and whatnot. Other than that, last meeting of the semester, let's try to go into next year with less of an idea of, wow, we don't have anybody here, but more of an idea of what can we do with who we have. So let's try to go with that mentality next year. I know I've been pushing all year to add people to parliament committees, try to help grow student organizations, but a little disappointed, but pep talk from the president of the college changed my attitude to more of let's see what we can do for the students next semester. Let's just push forward for that. So I hope everyone enjoys their holiday break.
Mr. Philly?
I had class elections today, to me for sending out all those email blasts. It was a pretty good success, better than last time. It was good.
Ms. Garcia?
My announcements are short, but I just want to say thank you for those who came to the holiday party. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys had a good time. I look forward to, thank you. I look forward to seeing you guys at Stories next year. The date is May 3rd, it's on Friday. Feel free to go to a food room or, dress nice, do it up, but I will make sure that I'll do the holiday party. And then I just want to give a big thank you, Cheryl, for my SOC committee, because, finally was able to, that's the series where I was able to because we get the show on the road. So with that being said, if you know anybody that is interested in joining the committee for next semester, they will be making a difference. They'll be helping starting off orgs and helping active orgs stay active and stuff. So send them my way, secretary, with SEG at SEG.org. And that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Coleman?
Here we are, folks. Look at this. We made it. It's almost the end of 2018 and we didn't die. I want to start off my announcement like that, but I also want to say that, share with you very happily that all our clubs that are able to pick up the budget packet actually did pick up their budget packet. So budget hearings will be amazingly long and we will all be there forever. But it's great. And I'm happy about it. And I will be working with, working on more revisions. I have a couple on the agenda. So see, look at me going off. That's just so we better facilitate the growth and continuity of the students and work on campus. I also will be amending the total for my general report. Sorry, I guess when I was typing it, I didn't pay attention as much as I should have, and I totally added instead of subtracting, which is not what you do with math when you're doing withdrawals. I plan on working with Secretary Garcia and other orgs, also looking towards maybe even faculty input, advisor input on revising our conference policies. I've seen that we've been having a lot of issues with this. I can't tackle that myself because, again, I'm one person. There's probably tons and thousands of reasons and things wrong with it, but hey, we got to start somewhere, and I can't be the only head on this. I'm looking towards previous Parliament e-board members, previous folks that have written policy or have revised policy. I'll be talking to you, Rob Smith, sooner or later. But I'm definitely reaching out and going all guns ho just to find out, hey, what can we do to these conference policies that can stop hindering our clubs from doing the things that they need to do? Things that we're looking for are like numbers of folks that are able to go, and our financial parameters for that. How would they correlate, have some way to make those things better, maybe an open forum, maybe being able to, thank you, I don't want to take all the credit for that one because Dr. Wardlow Williams definitely had a conversation with me that I felt enlightened after, and I'm looking towards more online, more modern types of ways to fill out our forms. Also figure out another way to like get advisor signatures without having the advisor there. Scans work, but something that could help out in that form so we're not hindering clubs. Other than that, I'll be talking a lot more, so let me just stop. Thank you.
I don't have any announcements, but I just want to say, finals week, it's next week. Don't go over 24 hours without sleeping like me. You'll go crazy. But please take care of your mental health, study, ace those exams, and sleep. Eat, repeat. Awesome. Ms. Roan?
So, I did get a chance to take it up as like officialness, so I'm just going to talk about it briefly here. You're looking for another fun committee to join, you can join Conditions and Services, which is a committee that we focus on different complaints and ways that we can improve campus in general, whether it's infrastructure or different programs and ways to outreach to students. So me and the other people on my committee, we found or trying to decide better ways to target complaints. So we came up with 17 places to target complaint collections, ranging from the 3 different places that we can eat on campus to the gaming lounge to places on East Campus like the rec center and all the college dorms. And for that, we're going to probably come up with a flyer with a QR code that connects to an email that they can send complaints to. So we're going to find a more official way to advertise those instead of just hanging them up where they just get taken down by janitors. But some complaints that we have gotten already, we have like 6 main ones that keep recurring, which is not enough campus events in general and the need for more weekend activities, longer library hours. I know it's something that like has already been worked on last year, but longer dining hours is still a recurring topic that comes up in my complaints. A better convenience store that's not just part of the bookstore, something that's more accessible. Better outdoor lighting at nighttime, because without proper lighting outside, it's been creating hazardous conditions, especially when they're getting darker earlier. And then a need for better accessibility for people with disabilities into certain buildings. Those are like the 6 main complaints that have been highlighted a lot and things that I've been receiving. Those are the main things that we've been discussing with that committee. I think that's all I have to say.
Institutions and Organizations Conference Report. Conference Report, Resident Student Association. Hello.
Hi. So I'm Julia. I'm the National Communications Coordinator of Resident Student Association. In this past month, we went to our Regional Fall Leadership Conference. To prepare for that, we had to create clothespins, which we exchanged with other schools, in a 3D display and a roll call video, all related to the theme of the conference, which was Super Mario Brothers this year, and that represents our school. For each conference, we're allowed to take 3 delegates from the organization, and these delegates have the opportunity to go through different programs where they learn leadership skills involving diversity, connections, the structure of the organization, culture, responsibility, and identity. And then the e-board members of the org also has the opportunity to go to one of these programs, but we are primarily in boardroom where we're doing parliament stuff and learning about behind the scenes and how the organization runs across the region. The overall goal for RSA, or for doing the conferences through RSA, is to bring back what we've learned, those leadership skills that we learned through those programs and just through bonding with other schools. And being able to ask questions about how other schools run their RSAs, because often e-board members and general members will switch positions by the year, so it's good to have that kind of mentor relationship. And then also represent RIC as part of helping to create a community among college residents across the region.
Any discussions? Motion to approve. I have one from Ms. Gomez and one from Ms. Garcia. Again, any questions?
I'm just very glad to hear that you guys had a great time and learned a lot. That that is the purpose of conferences. So I'm very happy to see that, and I'm very happy that you guys got to bring those folks that you did, because you did say that they do switch positions, and I appreciate it very much, and keep doing a great job, guys. Thank you.
So I just want to ask a question. So what do you think was like the highlight of your conference trip that you thought was like really interesting?
Do you mean, can I ask for the conference?
Yeah.
Um,
You
or
went to
like for the
conference and
e-board,
you
or
guys,
just like?
just in general, like what do you think was like the most interesting thing that you guys were able to look at or experience?
I think a lot of the programs, and I don't know if this probably differs depending on the year, because we go to this conference every year. Through the different programs that everybody is able to attend, the e-board and some of the the delegates that go are able to bond over those experiences and then bring it back to RSA here at school and then relive that bonding situation with the rest of the org.
Any other discussions? Any other discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Constitution.
Here we go.
We have the Harvest Campus Ministry.
Hello. Hi, how are you? You guys ready to go?
Yeah, gladly.
All right, so this is a new club, am I correct? You guys have not ever been active on campus. Okay,
So, sorry to interrupt you.
No, okay.
So we've been active on campus, but we haven't been recognized by the college. Yeah.
So with that being said, please introduce yourselves. Please tell us the purpose of this, or just give us a little background.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to start off talking a little bit about who I am, just so you guys can get a general idea. So my name is Angelina Serrano. I'm currently a master's student in the School of Social Work, graduating soon. And I got my undergrad here at Rhode Island College. Entering Rhode Island College, I already had a strong sense of my faith. And it was really important for me to stay connected through my faith and kind of use my faith as a form to kind of overcome some of the barriers that come with being a first-generation college student, being a student of color, and other different disadvantages that I was facing. So the Harvest Campus Ministry was really a solid community that I could come to and receive encouragement and support and kind of feel supported and feel understood, and really helped me navigate through the college experience. So I'm going to allow Yas to talk a little bit about the mission of the organization.
Hey guys, thanks again for having us here. The mission of the Harvest Campus Ministry is to show the community that there's students that are on campus that are walking and living their faith. Students that actually have an encounter, not just saying that I believe, or I'm a Christian or whatever, because those terms are used very loosely out on campus. But we want to reincorporate community, diversity. We have so many ideas on how we can really reach out to the campus and just encourage everybody and unite everybody. And so people can have a sense of community and where they belong. You know, still want to continue to hold on to our faith because it is important to us. And we just want to continue to reach out to the community and just grow together and learn together.
Absolutely.
So,
Sorry, as Yasa mentioned, we have 4 aspects that really are foundations within the ministry. And some of these things we've met, and some of the things we haven't had the accessibility to do because we're not a recognized organization. So the first one for us is truth. So weekly on Monday nights we host Bible studies. And what we hope to do with the Bible studies and continue to do is to introduce faith towards God, believing in the word and work of God, studying and discussing the death, burial, and resurrection. Something that we hope to do is create a choir within the school, and the hope is to incorporate diversity. So we don't want to just it be our group is running the show, but we want to be able to incorporate Rick's media team and Rick's music team and just kind of bring the community and the students together to really showcase those.
just want to add like sign language and multiple bilingual language, just get everybody together and just worship music, just enjoy being in that.
Absolutely. So for our club, it's really important to highlight race diversity. And as someone who identifies as a person of color, it's really important for me to just facilitate a place and be part of something that is inclusive of all types of diverse groups. And then we also have some social and evangelism events, so host monthly prayer meetings, open mic, testimony Tuesdays. We hope to kind of be integrated with community drives, so we know that the Unity Center hosts like the Toys for Tots, the MLK Day of Service, we hope to be part of that. Be able to create encouraging flyers that we can post on campus, as you were mentioning with the other doctor. It's important for us to kind of just, the kudos thing, but in a different, positive reinforcements for students. And then even support with natural disasters that occur. And then our last is unity and community. So I think that this is a theme for Rhode Island College, that we're trying to get to that place that it's like, we're one community, and although we have different paths of life, we all bring something so special to the table. So connecting students to one another. So big aspects of our ministry is that we don't want it to be just one set person per se leadership. So yes, we have different people that bring different studies, but we want to make sure that people feel like they can rely on their peers. So I can get encouragement from Priscilla, and Priscilla can give me encouragement. If I need help with something on campus, we can both navigate through it together. And then explore and help students find purpose and their contribution to our society. And we've done this, and not at the RIC campus, but outside of the RIC campus. We've been hosting workshops, seminars, and conference in leadership. We're going to have one coming up about spiritual gifts and things like that, so that students can feel that they have a sense of purpose. Because I think
they are.
Absolutely, yes.
Because there's so many things that's thrown at students while they're here. And it's just like the Harvest Campus Ministry wants to step away from, the cares and just an hour a week, whatever it is, just to focus in on, hey, I'm checking in with you, how are you? How is your faith? Can we worship together? Can we praise God together or whatever?
And lastly, which we need accessibility to, is host campus-wide events that integrate the college community. As we mentioned, our goal is to really create and facilitate a safe space where students can express themselves, explore their faith, and just find a sense of purpose. And if you allow us, we'd like to have a student just share a little bit about how campus ministry has been effective in her life.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm in my second year here at RIC. I'm an intended music ed major, and I can't even begin to express how powerful this ministry is and how powerful I can imagine it to be. Especially for me, where I'm new in my faith and just trying to find, to stay in that direction. I remember like last year I was living on campus and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my first time like being independent, like, I'm on my own, like I'm on my own already doing that. and to be able to come to a group of beautiful ladies who are really living for God and really to be inspired by that, to go to them for everything. I can't, there's been so many instances where I'm just like, I've been struggling with this. I need someone to pray with. And they've always come in clutch. They've always been there. They've always been there. And I can just, they're only a text away or anything like that. So, for this kind of unity and really this commitment that these ladies have, and this ministry will have, I'm so blessed by it. And I really can't imagine RIC not having something like this. It's just a completely different atmosphere, something different to bring to the table, something that, I feel deeply that RIC needs.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Seeking motion to approve. I have one from Ms. Garcia and one from Ms. Kowalski. Any discussions? Yeah, please.
I just want to make an amendment to line 5.3. It says meetings must be announced 1 week days prior to the meeting to the entire membership. Did you guys want to do 1 week or 1 day?
1 week, sorry.
1 week, no problem.
Yeah. So can I make a friendly amendment of 5.3 meetings must be announced 1 week prior to the meeting to the entire membership. If the Currently MMA, you don't need to vote.
Is there any oppositions? Passes. Any other discussions? Alexis? All right, and,
So,
wait,
No, you go.
okay,
I'll speak last, go ahead.
okay.
point of information for Genesis, is this supposed to be that?
Huh? Oh, I don't know, I did not highlight that.
It was, I don't know, so I don't even know which one to pick.
Okay.
At the meeting tonight.
So you said one week, if you want to change it to 1 week?
Yeah, we already did the amendment, it was already passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to finish that.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Kansas?
Okay, so thank you guys, that was a very moving presentation, it was made me cry.
And
Because I
also,
think
sorry.
this is impossible, so, no, of course, we,
I actually wanted to say this in the beginning, I just really wanted to, and I spoke to you else, but I wanted to publicly thank Genesis, because she's been extremely helpful in this process, and even with past experiences of trying to begin this process, she's just been emailing me on time, helping me with the process. I just really wanted to thank you, Genesis.
thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. And, like I said, I want to see this, I want to see you guys like stay active, so my only concern is like, this, you know, what you guys have is a beautiful thing, so like, as a regular student, like you said, this, you guys come in clutch, so, you know, you guys are graduating, so like, how are you guys gonna retain, like, because I don't want to see that this semester you guys aren't active, right? And then you guys have, whoever is like, taking the jobs have to come through this event, so how are you gonna make sure that like, it stays active status?
So we have 2 weeks that we're gonna do that. So one is that there's more members in the leadership that are not present today because they either had class or work. But also, this is also campus. The leadership comes from the local church that most of us attend. So we're always recruiting college-aged and career students that go to the church, to the ministry, and our RIC students as well.
And one thing that's important is mentorship. It's very, very important. You know, we're all diverse in this room here, and we're all in different stages in our lives and different ages, etc. I think it's very, very important as a leader, as you're, you know, leading your group, it's important to be able to shadow and pass down the information so that, you know, one day if I'm not feeling well, I know I can call Priscilla to, you know, lead the study. Hey, I can call Sister Rachel to go and, you know, grab the food from downstairs. So just getting everybody involved and connected is what's going to keep the ministry going, because the ministry is not just on one person, not just the leader, but it's on all of us. We're responsible, and we are at the stage in you know, and where we are just committed and dedicated just to get out there, just get our voices out there, and get the community going, heard.
Yeah, and as a side note, this has been, although we have not been recognized by the college campus, this is a ministry that's been at RIC for 8 years or so.
So we've been trying, we've been, you know, not discouraged, we've been persistent, but slowly in God's timing, you know, the opportunity opened up, and, you know, we're here. So we thank you for that.
What I like about you guys is that you're very passionate, because having that passion is definitely gonna help keep you guys up here and stuff like that. I love the choir idea, I want to see that.
Alto, soprano?
No, I'll be there in August. I can sing, I cannot sing, but I'll be there, right? So my support, stuff like that. Would you guys plan to stay funding if you guys get approved?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I definitely would like to see you guys go to conferences and like also like.
And bring people in.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, and actually every year,
or something.
yeah, absolutely. Every year we go to a campus ministry conference called Awakening, and obviously we fundraise on our own to get there. But it, just as kind of how you were mentioning, it's a conference that teaches you skills, that prepares you to then come back and impact the campus in even a greater degree.
And you can also see other campus ministries from all over the world gather to encourage each other and just to build each other up as we tackle on the spring semester and the rest of the academic year. So we're excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussions? Yes, Janelle?
I just want to say that I hope you guys hit my line. I am a treasurer. I will help you getting that funding. If you need help writing rationale, you probably don't know our processes. We'll have a president's treasurer meeting, and I think you can talk to all you leads if you'd like, since you guys are all part of the leadership that is passing down. Also, I would like to say that I am looking forward to seeing the growth of you guys, just for the simple fact that you guys have waited so long. So I can't wait for you guys to hit the ground running So as soon as you guys can meet with me, my office hours are posted, I have my email, treasurer at RegSCG, we can get that started.
Yeah.
Any further discussions?
Can I make a friendly amendment to 7.1.1 to just add a period?
7.1.1, and what?
A period.
On here? Here you go. It also helps.
Okay.
Yeah, and then another one, 5.2, take the underline out of the president.
Sure. Any-
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Any discussions or decisions on that? All right, going to, and just before that, any other discussions? Moving to a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Congrats.
Have a great night.
Oh, we will.
Muslim Students Association.
Hi,
Hello, welcome.
Please, is this a new org, or you guys newer? I don't know, introduce yourself, or tell us your preference, future parents.
Alright, so my name is Afia, I'm a senior computer science major.
And I'm Mohammed, I'm a biology major.
So this, so far from what I know, this organization was never created at RIC, but I'm not sure if like 4 years ago or 5 years ago there was an organization. But based on the website, based on people I've talked to, there is an organization that's for Muslims. So the purpose of this organization is to create me and interact, to create a club so that Muslims can interact with each other, and to create safe space for people to talk about problems they might have on campus, and for them to connect with each other. Because I've been, so this is my 4th year, and a lot of people come up to me because I love Muslim and I am Muslim, and they always want to know if there's something that they can do, and to be part of a larger Muslim community here. If they have problems, they always come up to me wanting to do something, or if they feel like there's a problem that they face, they want to approach somebody, but they don't know how. So I feel like organizations need to help Muslims communicate with each other and create a safe space for that to happen.
Seeking a motion to approve. Welcome Ms. Garcia, welcome Ms. Enos. Any discussions?
I'm sorry, I just want to speak about it. So if you guys need to be approved, do you think that there might become a time when you guys can be not feel safe for our campus? Because I know that this semester, I don't know if you've been aware, but there has been inappropriate flyers going around campus targeting immigrants, the LGBT community and stuff like that. So like have you ever thought about, like, I don't know, let's talk about, like, if we consider a safe space, because, like, you know, I want to be a tool for you guys to, like, make sure you guys are good as an org and stuff like that, and, like, direct you to the right places and stuff. So I don't know if that was ever a discussion for you guys.
Right now, I know their community is really open and really nice, so I haven't felt unsafe. But I know that this organization, since it's going to be out there, there might be chances that could happen, but I know it's really nice community, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm expecting to get something.
Josh?
I'd just like to make 2 friendly amendments to add a period to 7.1.3 and 7.4.4.
Any discussions on that?
That's someone opposed it. I don't recommend you to leave it as an easy period. Would you like to say something?
Oh, no,
Okay, sorry.
do they know what changes you're making?
Oh, we're just adding a period to the end of this sentence.
So can you repeat the numbers again?
7.1.3 and 7.4.4, just formality.
I just want to say that I think this is needed on campus. I see a lot of other religious groups OAC on campus, or at least there's visibility of them. Seeing that those flyers have come out, this is a great, well, not a great time, but I mean, I think this is a appropriate time, well, in a sense. I think you get where I'm trying to get at, but in reality, I feel like this is a great time for this to be unified. A lot of people don't have the knowledge, so they fear what they don't know. So with that being said, I'm so happy that you guys are making yourself visible. Visibility matters. If you don't see people like you don't really feel comfortable in that area. So with that being said, I'm very proud of you guys and continue good work and be great student leaders because you're doing something great.
Thank you. Any other discussions?
Also, my office hours are posted upstairs. I've had you before, so you know it's not done. But okay, funny, get it. Just get it.
Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed. Congratulations.
Thanks, Rob.
Finance and Economics Association. Hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm Master Bon Geraldo. There was a Finance and Economics Club before,
Yeah.
so we're just trying to bring it back. It's needed.
If you guys become active, do you have any plans for next semester?
Yeah, so we're working in tandem with the CFA Society, and they're trying to bring together all the finance clubs from all the different other colleges. We actually met with them already, and we met with the State Treasurer Seth Magaziner. So they're trying to put it all together, kind of build a curriculum per se for all the finance clubs. So it's all like a uniform thing, I guess, throughout the whole state with all the other schools, and have like when they bring like big speakers, they can invite all the clubs and everybody go to the big events, and then they'll provide information for us to teach people. We also, like, aside from the CFA Society, we want to focus on personal finance stuff for like college students. You know, everybody has money issues, or all these students that come here, everybody's new to dealing with their own finances. What's car insurance? What's credit? What's stuff like that. So that's sort of what we want to focus on as well.
I was going to suggest that, I don't, and the Dean Assistant correct me, I don't know which department they're doing this, but I know you got reached out, because I know it's Learning for Life, there's something, Learning for Life is doing like financial, like.
Financial wellness
Yeah.
week.
So I highly
Financial,
recommend
yes.
that you guys be a part of that.
Yeah, and that's one of our goals as well, is to join. It's like, yeah, they have like a financial literacy. That's what they call it. Yeah.
Motion to approve. I have one from Ms. Garcia, one from Ms. Gomez. Any other discussions?
First and foremost, I just want to say this is a great organization. A lot of people don't really know how to do their finances. We're in that awkward stage where we're now paying for our education. So now we don't really know where the rest of our money, or where our money just left to. So with that being said, this is a great organization. I also recommend for you guys to come and talk to me and join my finance commission. I would definitely love to have more math-y and financial people on there. Also, come talk to me about finances for your club, come get your award, get your budgets and stuff. You can't be in the process this time, but we got you next time, right? Hey. And then just come on by, I'm here. Oh, and I also, one more thing, I almost forgot. I'd like to do a friendly amendment to 7.1.4, do a period, to the box, to the end of that, so presides over all meetings, period. 7.1.4, that's just to add a period. I just have to do that, and it's the finance one, I have to say something, and that is all.
Awesome. Any other general discussions?
So yeah, I was just gonna say that I highly recommend that, so if your members are free next semester to join the finance commission, because it has to do 100% with money, with all the it would be really good on her resume. She was like, you know what to do when it comes to distributing money, so I just want to say that.
Josh?
All right, so she stole my friendly amendment, that's fine. I have two questions, or a statement and a question. Why is the president only voting an event on tie? Is that just preference, or is there a reason?
I'm going to be really honest with you. This is the same constitution that they had before.
Sounds good.
That's,
All right,
I know, that's what I was saying, I said,
For your information, that's the model constitution.
That's fine. lot of constitution. And then the second one was if anybody, if you had anybody that was interested in joining the Finance Commission, there's only a few positions available, and they are Parliament spots, so they also have to join Parliament, which is.
We can talk about that.
But, other than that, I don't have anything else. Alexis? Okay. Is that it? Was that it? Okay. Yes.
I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. Any further discussions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Printmaking Club. Hello.
Hi, my name is Magda Leone, I'm the treasurer. So I apologize for bringing my children.
You're good.
Thomas them donuts.
Yes.
And,
They're great to have.
thank you, they're really good kids.
Yeah, let me tell you, some
you after 2 hours,
great.
The president and the vice president were supposed to come, they had some last minute things, they weren't able to. One of the reasons why we want to start a club is to have visiting artists come, and we actually had one this semester, and I'll tell you, it was such a good thing. Just being able to have access to talk to people that are, like in the field and help, maybe help, we could, what will be of us once we graduate, and just inspire us. I was able to get a lot of ideas and stuff for like my final projects from them. Another reason is funding for maybe taking courses at AS220 as printmakers. There's a silk screening that is not offered here at RIC. So, being able to take courses there, also visiting museums, getting inspired, getting funding for that. And also, we would love to start with funds, maybe sort of like a small store with supplies for printmaking. With printmaking, you go for paper like crazy. And then the places that sell it, they're on the east side, they don't, here at the store you can't get it. So maybe having access here to buy printmaking supplies would be.
Yeah, our supplies are expensive.
And they're expensive, yeah. So that's pretty much. And also, this intimidates me. Like the packet, and it's like I was reading it, I'm like, it's like reading Mandarin to me. If you can help me by being patient, if I have like questions, and I've never been a treasurer, they picked me because I am the old lady from the club, and they were like, she looks responsible. And I said, okay. But I don't know exactly. I am responsible, but I just need maybe.
Awesome. Seeking motion to approve. Have one from Ms. Gomez and one from Ms. Garcia. Any discussions? I have Josh.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to 1.1. The name of the club shall be the Printmaking Club, period.
Very creative.
And then second, my second comment is there's so many papers in this little binder, committees, bylaws that I have read multiple times. It goes in one ear out the other. So it's very intimidating. So you're not alone. Anybody who reads it is intimidated. Most people are. So there's no shame in that, and it's perfectly fine. Everyone is. It's very confusing sometimes, so everyone asks questions, even myself still. Mary can attest to this, we all still ask questions. So it's always good to ask questions, and a potential type of printmaking glove could potentially work with the Anchor newspaper. I would think that you guys would work very well as two separate entities, one based on just newspaper and the other one a more generalized type of printmaking. I think you guys could do a lot of good events together and stuff like that to work together. That would be an idea. Janelle.
Definitely a gotcha girl. I like to put things in plain English. I try to trust and believe. I get it. I totally get it. And I don't be discouraged. I'm trying to at least fix things so it's not as that scary. And now that I know you're treasurer, definitely send me an email at treasurers@frickseg.org.
Okay, where can I find that?
I could even write this down.
Can you,
That's not true.
think,
But just send me an email just whenever you want to have a meeting and we can talk more and you can feel way better and more secure. No problem. I'm trying to be transparent and not only that, but then we could join the treasurer's group chat and then you'll feel a lot more responsible because I put all the reminders on there. So it's like you don't have to remember anything. I got it. No problem.
you're putting things more at ease, because
I got you.
yeah, I was a little intimidated, I'm like, all right.
Awesome. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Congratulations. Okay, Christian Student Association.
I would like to be first in this question.
Yes,
please.
Hello, my name is Dexley.
And I'm Adam.
So I'm one of the leaders who help run Christian Student Fellowship. We're actually part of a division under New England Students, which looks to to minister to different campuses all around New England. So our goal and hope as we are here at work, we've already been meeting for about the past year or so. We have a few different things in mind. One of them is to engage with the campus. So in one sense, we want to invite students who may already understand things about God or about Christianity or about Christ. And we want to invite students who do not know anything about that. And we want to invite them into fellowship with us that we can learn together. And we also want to mentor and disciple students who, again, don't have any understanding, maybe have a basic understanding, or maybe have a more advanced understanding of those things. And so we also want to build community on this campus. So the past year, we've already been doing a few different events. A few weeks ago, we actually did a progressive dinner right before Thanksgiving. We know it's a time where some students who may be a little further away from family don't have opportunities to go back home or someone they can be with. So we actually all carpooled. We met here on campus. We drove to three different houses in Providence where we enjoyed an app, main meal, and then desserts and games. And so this past year we've been doing events like that to foster community, get us outside the campus, or maybe staying on campus, but enjoying one another's company, kind of getting our minds off the workloads that we have, the jobs that we have. And also, finally, one of the things that we're really trying to do is connect students to local churches in the Providence, Rhode Island area. So we think it's really important that these students not only have a community here on campus, but have a local community, because as all of us understand, as students, there's only so much information we can get from other students. It's so important for all of us, regardless of what we believe, to have father figures, mother figures, people in different stages of life who can speak into our lives. So one of our goals is to connect these students to local churches where they can build community there, get help and resources there as well. So we're trying to do all those three different things. Right now we're meeting on a weekly basis. We just had our last meeting yesterday, working through books of the Bible.
Taking motion to approve. Ms. Gomez and Ms. Garcia. Any further discussions? Jess.
Alright, so I was going to kind of wrap it, but before I do that, I need your input first. As you know, we talked about this already, the permit. So if you guys plan on seeking permission from us, that has to change. So I don't want to force it on you guys, I come from a religious household, and I'm all for letting people be there, people, and I don't want to change people. I don't want people to change what they believe in, But unfortunately, it's our policy, you have to be inclusive, and that affirming, if I'm affirming to your thing, and that's a requirement to join your exec board, that makes you not exclusive. So she, Mary, would be the best person to explain that better. I'm with it, so I don't know if you want to like discuss that. So she can clarify with you.
Basically, because it's saying that somebody has to make a statement of faith, like has to, it makes it exclusive in a way because any student should be able to be eligible to be a part of your organization and run for office and position. And by doing so, they should be able to do it without having to make that statement of faith. For example, in the past we've had, or I use this example for a lot of organizations to show open, non-exclusive. We had an organization that recently went inactive called Women of Color. In my first year that I joined, the president was not a woman. And so it's something where if they put the president must be a female, it would make them exclusive. So basically it has to be open to any student and they're not required to take a statement. Otherwise it becomes exclusive. We would hope that if they are voted into the position of presidency, they would be willing to take it as being the president, but it's not something that it has to say must or required.
I just have to say the same exact thing. Basically, like, I'm a person who believes in God, but I don't believe in ordinary religion. With that being said, can I not go? Like, I want to go. I want to come and vote and be part of your stuff. Like, can I not? Like, if I'm active and I'm, like, doing everything that abides by your Constitution, I can't be a part of that? Like, you know? So that's, like, where we come from.
And I just want to say that, if this is something you want to stick to, like, more, like, I'm going to respect that, like, unfortunately, we won't be able to come you. So, I just want to hear your feedback on this. Like, are you fine with us changing that? Like, what do you feel?
I think at this time, we don't want to change that, just because I would want to have follow-up conversations, would want to think that through. I think the idea there is, again, so anyone can be part of general membership, but as far as, because we believe the student leadership, really direct, I mean, I'm here helping, but really the people on the ground really moving this organization are the student leaders. So we just believe that they should innately believe what they're moving forward. And so that's the idea. That's not to make it exclusive as if we don't want people to be a part of it, but it's to protect the goals and visions of the group. So right now, no, but I definitely would want to follow that.
Yeah, because we think about it as a way, like, just Mary explained, like, our what-if situation. We're just having to get back because we will hate for our org to be inactive. So, we not gonna work. One day we may have to work, you need people to join the exec board, but the one person that can join is an atheist or something, somebody who, so that's your last option to stay active, that one student. So that's why we that's why we do that. But, for the future then, if you guys do plan to want to be funding from there, that's gonna have to change. So I've been more willing to sit down with you guys, talk about it, discuss it, compromise funding, but that's gonna have to change in the future.
Is it something that you want to be approved as is, or table it for further discussion, and then come back and change it? Do you want to keep it as is?
Yes.
Keep it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just double checking. I wanted to make a friendly amendment. 2.1 on the front, where it says, it's still third line, collegiate ministry. I think collegiate should be capitalized. And then in between, the same line, in between New England and of, I don't think that parentheses needs to be there. I think that's just a mistake. It's on the third line of 2.1. So collegiate, capitalized, C, collegiate, and then the parentheses in between England and of, the right, the third line.
The parentheses take it off?
Yeah.
I just wanted to inform you guys that technically you do not have to worry that the leadership will not carry on the purpose because you are protected by your constitution, meaning that whoever does take the mantle for said club has to follow your constitution. That's that's certified by our bylaws. Other than that, we could take their funding back. So you do not have to be exclusive just for that purpose, just so you know, you're protected regardless. So if you do want to make the amendment, that is something that we could possibly pass today. Other than that, I don't really see us passing it. Because we cannot form exclusive clubs with that being, because the only reason why is that everybody gets their student activity fee regardless of black, white, atheist, God-loving, XYZ, and everybody has a say into where that money goes, you know, which is why my commission stands. So just a point of information, something to consider.
Thank you. Yep. This is an interesting constitution. As someone who has very similar faith and belief as you guys do, but also holding this position, I'm sort of at some sort of crossroads here, as I do believe though what you guys are doing is great, but I see a lot of, like, something that really concerns me is 10.4.1. It says officers of an organization shall be subject to recall from office by the senior leadership of the organization. Now, there's not much description to that. Are they gone if a staff member thinks that they don't deserve to be there? Or is it that they have to still go through all the voting members? But that type of issue can't be voted on by general members. It's just the executive board and the staff leadership, which is also very questionable. This is a student board. There's a lot of staff involvement, a lot of staff leadership. Now, I understand that because it's tough for something like this to be solely student-led, because obviously the students also need a leader and someone to go to and whatnot. But it's very concerning because it is very, if I just read this without any knowledge of what you just said in your description, I would think that this is a very exclusive club.
Yeah, I think, well, first, so 10.4.1 was in the model constitution. All we did was edit that. So I think, yeah, so we had an original constitution that we took and had to expand because the model constitution has a lot in regards to these specific circumstances. So that's what you're seeing there. And so we're comfortable making amendments there, but just to, again, preface that was already there. We were simply looking to make appropriate, trying to fit the, put the X's and O's, trying to make sense of what was already in the model constitution.
So, I mean, I would personally feel comfortable by not, I mean, obviously staff leadership is defined as, it's not even defined in here, which is a little bit, where is it? Because all I see is student leadership.
Yeah, 7.5 says, assist staff leadership executive.
But again, what is defined as staff leadership? That's the thing. Because staff leadership is the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, the pastor, and the advisor. If that's what it is, then I would feel more comfortable if that said, officers of this organization shall be subject to recall from the office by the student leaders. That's how I would see it. Because it's more of, it would be concerning because staff leadership from my perspective would be the pastor and the advisor. They would be determining that somebody's not fit for office, which would seem like they're running the organization, which is no longer student run, it's staff and faculty run, and that's not a student club. While I think most of everything in here is pretty good, Genesis and Janelle brought up some solid points also, because we do feel as though it's very exclusive when it comes to nominations, eligibility for elections. But as you state membership, anyone can be a member. So it's just going into that executive board position is where it starts to become exclusive, which we would suggest that you change, but we obviously can't do that. My suggestion to the body would be, I know winter break, I know you guys might be sitting on this might have been up in SCG for a while, but I really want to get this right the first time around and make sure that everybody's covered by this Constitution and it's not exclusive, and that it fits both you guys, your club, and your the Southern Baptist, fits in for everyone. And I would suggest that we table this, as I do think it needs some work.
Well, as far, so I, not to interrupt, but as far as, if this is primarily in regards to the exclusive inclusive, I would still want to keep it as is, because that's something that, that we would want to, we would still, if you guys would approve, I still want to function as a club. That's something we would want to just simply think on and come to. But otherwise, at this point, we are comfortable not being funded. So that wouldn't be an issue for us as of right now.
That was going to be my other question. If not, are you comfortable with not being funded? Alexis?
I don't know if
Don't be shy about it, it's fine.
I'm very good at it.
Lick, how do you back? Lick me, bro?
You're watching out there.
So it's also 2.1, but it's line 9.5, where it says, and enjoy God through his son. Could you decapitalize his son?
Which one is it?
So on line 5 of 2.1,
Okay.
where it says his son.
Okay. So the son part should be like lowercase?
I'm sorry.
So the son part should be lowercase?
His and son. I don't know, like, is son's supposed to be capital? I don't think so. Could be not as capital.
You're talking about religion and you're talking about his, yeah, because I think that his is referring to God.
Yeah.
So just
Thank you. Janelle? It's your turn.
Oh, no, Reggie just
Okay.
locked that up.
All right, cool. You do?
You right, after you.
Section 5.3, where it says, shall be a nested membership, at least it should say spelled out 5, and then parentheses around the 5. And then the same thing would be in section 10.1.1. And the other thing would be to underline Christian Student Fellowship at the top of the first page to make it consistent with the Monroe Constitution.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Have Christian Student Fellowship underlined right at the top of the top of the Monroe Constitution. Underlined. So that way it's consistent with like HBS mentors. Have HBS mentors underlined.
Any further discussions? Yes, Genesis?
When are you weekly meetings?
What was that?
When are you meetings?
Tuesdays at 7:30.
Tuesdays at 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have, you guys pick a date for next semester? Because I know you said you just had your last one.
Yeah, so we haven't, we're going to meet again. The student leaders will be meeting next week. So it'll either be the first or, it'll be January 22nd, which is the first day of class, Tuesday, or the week after.
Okay, I'm gonna send you an email. I want to see how you guys are first. So I'm very interested, so I'll personally email to me. I'll join your email list. I don't think I can do that, but I'm interested in visiting.
Okay.
To see this match.
Yeah.
Any other further discussions?
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I'm still very confused over, because it's not defined in your constitution, and I think that may become an issue of what is staff leadership. So if you guys could answer that for me, maybe we could add a 7.7.
Yeah, I thought I had a section on staff leadership, but.
That's, I mean, unless I'm missing it, somebody can
There's
point it out.
7.5 student leadership.
That's,
There's also meetings for the
because if staff leadership can be defined, I would feel a lot more comfortable. Because it's just very confusing on what staff leadership is.
Well, it just means,
No, I'll think more better. Hopefully this gets approved. So it gets approved. I'm gonna email you this back after we make the edits, and then you're gonna just add, you're just gonna define in detail what student leadership is, just like how president, treasurer is. Huh?
There's staff.
There's staff leadership
Oh.
and student leadership mentioned, and then staff leadership is.
So then the staff leadership is what we want to find, right?
Yes.
So then that's, you just add that.
Yeah, so staff leadership is staff leadership is leadership that exists outside. So I'm a staff leader, two staff leaders, me and Evan. So we are staff leaders because we're not current students, but we are part of the leadership team, and we are provided by a local church. So we both go to Grace Bible Church in Cranston. So we are just leaders there.
No, I live underneath Evan.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Evan Chauffeur?
Yes.
Oh, we'll go figure. So yeah, so that's all that means. It just means leadership that exists outside of the student body. So we just help lead the organization with the students.
Okay.
So should it be?
I think we can just add that as an amendment right now, just because that's very simple. 7.7 would be staff leadership, would be leaders that are outside of the school, not faculty or staff, but members of the church.
If I could add on to that amendment, it's going to be 7.7 staff leadership, and then it's going to be 7.71 leadership that exists outside of the student body. Period.
And this might be a question for clarification. You are currently not enrolled at RIC, or you are enrolled at RIC?
Not enrolled.
Not enrolled. Can individuals who are not enrolled at RIC present?
Are one of you students?
I am a student.
Yeah, Ryan.
If I can speak of my name, because I know Dex has been talking a lot, and I know you guys probably prefer to hear from the students too. I'm the president of Christian Student Fellowship. I'm a senior. I'm a computer science major. We have 4 or 5 other student leadership on our leadership team, and we all have a passion for this. We all love doing the work of God, and we just want to show love to the campus, and welcome people with open arms to our group, and just share God.
Thank you for that clarification, and thank you for taking the time to come here to help present.
Yes, no problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm confused. Thank you as well for both of you. The way 7.5 currently reads, you as a staff leader, you as a part of the student leadership is going to assist the staff? I'm confused. You got any reason?
No, 7.5 is student leadership.
Yeah, but it's.
But it's saying staff.
Oh.
So is a horse following the cart? Or is it
Well,
a
it
cart
says
following a horse?
it says
It could
assist-
just be the way it's worded, but.
Well, it says assist staff leadership and e-board. So so the staff leadership is helping with in conjunction to the e-board. So the e-board is student leadership.
Okay, I'm confused, so help me, because I'm old.
Yeah, so no, that's all right.
So really that, if I'm hearing you correctly, then the staff leadership should be assisting the student leadership.
Okay, so let me try to clarify. So you've got student leaders who just function as, again, so there are leaders, you've got the general membership. So I'll just build the pyramid. General membership, student leaders, staff, e-board. So does that help? So you've got general membership, so students who are just coming, they may come once a semester, they may come twice, in and out. Then you've got those who are recognized to be consistent in assisting with putting together events, with the Bible studies, with discipleship, with all those things. Those are student leaders. Then you have your e-board, which consists of the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. So there are only a few positions for that, which is why we have the e-board separated from the student leadership. And then staff leadership, like myself, we come and assist and help as well, leading the Bible studies, events, and things like that.
So, that just completely confused me, I'll get over that for a second. I had a question about, the staff leadership. Can they decide stuff in the club? Because then it wouldn't be the student.
So I'm just gonna go out on a limb here, because I think there's a lot of confusion, a lot of questions that we need to have answered. And I'm just gonna make a motion right now to table this to next meeting, just because there's a lot of questions, and I think that while we all are accepting that you are okay with not being funded, which is no longer an issue, that's fine. But there's still some issues in defining some things and making sure that this is a completely student-led organization with help from the staff leadership. I think it might just be worded weird in here, that we just need to work on that. And I do think that with all these questions, this needs to be tabled, so I'm just going to make that motion.
I'll second that.
Steve seconds it. All those in favor?
Further discussion.
Oh, further discussion?
With that being said, if that gets approved, that doesn't mean that you guys are not gonna be on the meeting. What's gonna happen is that I'm just gonna edit this, then you're gonna make those changes, like, define those two, get that confusing people here, and then it's gonna come back to me, the back commission, we're just gonna review those changes and approve it, and then we're back here to square one again. And hopefully by then, people won't be confused. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
You guys are still gonna be able to do your thing.
Yeah, so I guess the only thing is, if there are specific lines that you are finding confusing, that'd be really helpful, just because obviously we presented as thinking it did represent that idea. So if you are confused, it's going to be really helpful if you let us know.
Of course, before anything, I'm going to tell you and things and be like, hey, you just need to define staff leadership, student leadership, just add that on and then.
Right. And I always say that because me and Jess had a conversation about that,
Yes.
and I had already given my approval of the fact that no, I'm perfectly comfortable with that, with it being a student-run organization. So, and I looked over it, so that's why, yeah, if there are specific lines, clauses, it's going to be really helpful if you guys can send that our way.
Yes.
Definitely need to define what the student leadership is in your constitution, so that you again can be protected, as well as like having your vision play out how you want it. So with that being said, definitely define what is student leadership. Is student leadership exclusive? Can anybody be a student leadership? Something else would be like, what is that staff leadership? What is the role of staff leadership? I know we defined it by 7.71 as leadership that exists outside the body. What do they do? And like, are they from this college? Are they not from this college? Like, define those types of things, because those are things that we need to know. You know, just for that. Now, I'm not speaking for the rest of the commission, but definitely adding some knowledge or words for the student leadership and the staff leadership would definitely possibly get this out of here. All right, for me. And thank you again for being here. And I'm sorry that you stayed through a whole long meeting.
Oh, it's all right.
And I just want to reiterate that a lot of this is just simple wording issues. Nothing wrong with the organization itself. It's just, we're trying to help protect ourselves and you guys to make sure that everything's worded correctly so that there's zero confusion when it comes to your organization and us. That's just all we're trying to do.
Any further discussions?
Just one more.
Yep.
And is there a possibility to have some clarity on faculty advisors? Is there a representative from RIC that would oversee and sign off on different things?
Yeah, so we have an advisor, his name's David Henry. He works in IT. I don't know if you know him, David, he's our advisor.
And it might be helpful just to make that clear within this information, that there's a faculty advisor.
There is another advisor that says a member of the Rhode Island College faculty.
Gotcha.
Any other further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Sorry, opposed? Abstain? Ready?
You guys will probably be in the first part of the meeting of the semester in January.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Regarding school manager.
Hello. They're here, sorry. Before this meeting.
Go for it.
Sorry. So they're here because, they just made a correction to, their elections, so they're gonna take that.
Yeah. So, my name is Ariana Dickey. I'm the president of Henry Barnes for Mentors.
I'm Julia Garibaldi, and I am the vice president of Henry Barnes for Mentors.
So over the past few years, we've had a couple of things change in our club. One of the main things being a change of our advisor, and a big decrease in membership over the past couple of years. So what we found that was causing that with the new advisor is that a lot of our members are education majors, as well as social work and psychology. And a lot of people in the education program are student teaching in their spring semester of senior year. And they're holding the presidency for that time. So then when April and May comes around, they're so focused on graduation that they don't work with the advisor and the e-board to actually run a re-election and to get new officers. So that's happened in 2 or 3 instances now, where elections have been done right at the beginning of the fall semester by the advisor herself because she doesn't have an e-board to help her. So we want to prevent that from happening in the future because not only with the education majors, but for social work majors in their senior year, they also are experiencing their final internship. So they're not on campus very often to even be still active as mentors, which is what my predicament is. I'm still going to try to mentor with the student I mentor with outside of the regular mentoring time, but it makes it very difficult and most wouldn't be able to do that with their schedule. So we just want to make that amendment so that the election happens at the end of November so that there is a grace period of the people still being around before, say, entering into student teaching to help the new executive board. And then the new executive board would hold that office from November 30th to the following November to create some more continuity and hopefully increase the membership and the overall success of the club.
Taking motion to approve. And one from Mr. Powers and one from Ms. Garcia. Any discussions?
So I had a question. So that would require someone to be a student basically for more than a year, because they would have to already be a student to become e-board, and then they would have to be able to still be there for next November.
Correct.
So do you think that would affect anything at all, like that would negatively impact your club? Since they would have to be a student for that, for basically 3 semesters.
So they would be in office for the 2. They would be in office for the spring semester of 1 academic year and in the fall of the next, so I see what you're saying. I don't see it negatively impacting the membership because luckily what the record has been is a lot of, even though our membership has run down, the few people who have stayed have been in the club since their freshman year. So we have that loyalty of members. And they would, I think having that foresight of knowing that this is how the executive board will now be run, I don't think we would run into that issue. I think it would help more with the continuity than cause any issue.
Any other discussions?
I'd just like to answer your question is that if it did become a problem and they know they're not going to be there, then they would probably not run or resign after the spring
Exactly.
semester. So those very simple solutions to those problems.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be out.
No, I just want to say, like, you guys go see in the future, like Christine Brown's, where like you guys might not have any people. Because I really want this to be active forever, because those children, like, I worked there for 3 years, they need this, like, seriously.
Yeah. So we're very happy that when we sent it out to say, like, this is what we're trying to change, like, who would be interested, we had 4 girls who stepped up for all 4 positions. So when Kaylee and I are able to step down, we have already set up a meeting with them to go over what the positions are. Our our advisor in the room yesterday just showed us like, oh, I have these binders from the old advisor. I was like, that would have been nice to have at the beginning of the semester. Thank you for giving that to me now. So, I mean, Derek can speak to, Ballroom has a 2-inch binder now. That was not there a year and a half ago. Henry Garner Mentors will definitely have one by the time January comes around. So I think that will definitely help too. Once we have these 4 girls, they're all freshmen too, I should mention. They're all freshmen, they're all very excited about it. So I anticipate them staying for a while and really learning the jobs and learning them well. And I've already talked to Janelle about going into the president treasurer meeting with them because they're nervous. They're very quiet freshmen who really want to make the impact, but they're shy about it. So we've already set up all of those precautions to really help them and mentor them to build it up, so that hopefully they can go out and create a better, bigger club that we won't have to worry about in the future, like staying active.
Because like I'm gonna get personal real quick. Like, to be honest, those kids are gonna look up to me more than the counselors. I'm not trying to like say anything wrong about the counselors at their school, but then they're gonna relate more to you guys because you guys are closer to them in age, and stuff like that. They also see the children in your heart. Because many things that my boss at that, because I used to work for Aspirations in the market, and one of the weaknesses my boss considered me is that I act as a friend first, but and instead of a 30 figure, which yes, it did kind of like backfire because when I needed to put my foot down, they don't take me serious and stuff. But I don't regret my tactic because they're venting to me. They don't get to vent to their parents because their parents are state attorney general of the state, they're lawyers and doctors, they're rich. They don't have time for their kids. Who gives them time for us? So most of those kids, they don't have siblings and they don't have child, so they're looking to us. So like, that's why like this thing is very important to me. So that's why I want to come to those freshmen to let them know like, hey, like I know you're freshmen, but like I hope you stick around because like those kids are gonna need you.
Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? You guys want to jump right into reports? I'm just asking if you guys want to read it, right? All right. Reports. Finance Commission meeting minutes of October 31st and November 14th.
Mama Shine, I'm here. Following, you see that we have grouped together 3 of our minutes. We have October 30th Halloween, we have November 14th, we also have November 28th. Let me just be very honest. The November meetings were not very productive. But I will say there were some interesting things, so I'll definitely look it over. And by productive, I mean that there wasn't like a lot on the agenda. I should definitely like watch my wording. But yeah, they were productive. We did new stuff and we did pass some things. Definitely read into some of that knowledge. We let Great Gamer have a new TV. What else did we have? We let, sorry, turn. And then we had, Club Mud just got more cool things so that they could perfect their craft. Pun intended. And killing, I'm trying. And then we also have, wait, the last one, what was it? Oh wait, that was Club Mud, sorry, I apologize. There was one in between that. These things are crazy. And we let Apex and Italian Club and students of amalgamated philosophy gain some budgets. So that you guys can see that. Any questions? There's a lot of things that I found interesting. You see our comments and everything, beautifully written by our Mary Lopez. She said it way that she said it, Mary.
Okay. Any discussions? Okay, seeking a motion to approve.
No, I was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got a motion to approve.
Yeah, we're seeking a motion to approve.
Oh,
I have one from Mrs. Ryan and one from Mrs. Polonsky. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good.
Genesis.
Sorry, that was really nice. And my last question,
Who's that? Al, what questions you want?
Okay.
I'm here for this. What's up?
Don't be offended if I'm asking this, I'm only curious. For the American Director to this class, do you guys get a warranty on that TV?
Yes.
Okay. How long is the warranty period? That's all?
Any, well, yeah,
Any further discussions? All those in favor? Or do we vote?
Nope.
All right, cool. Finance Commission, allocation report.
Here I am again. And you think I'm done, but I'm really not. As you see over here, I'm sorry, but as you see over here, this is where I gotta do my little amendment. Let me just amend this line item. So, not even line item, because we don't have a line item, but if you see on my first chart, I got many charts. My first little, spreadsheet there, we have our bold date that's, November 28th, and it says Finance Commission allocation 3 stars down there. There's a withdrawal of 7,000, and then myself as an idiot did not do that correctly, and I added instead of subtracting. I mean, who doesn't like money, right? But no. So we have to amend that from $246,912.26 to $232,912.26 because we going down, not up. I apologize, I must have not been paying attention. I was working on policy revisions at the same time, so maybe I just overlooked that, and I apologize because it should be on point. So I'd like to motion for that.
Can I get a second, also? Ms. Garcia.
Thank you. And
Yes.
yes,
All those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Ms. Gomez?
Any discussion on that? Definitely look it over. I put a lot of work into this, man. You gotta look at this.
So question,
Answer.
so with programming, often that going on in conference, is anything that she says in terms of money? Are they gonna be counted financially?
No. They never get that. They have their own budget that's completely separate.
They are stipulated to receive a certain percentage of the student. So they'll get it regardless.
Any other discussions, questions? Cool. Moving on. Thank you, Janelle.
No problem.
Great council report, proceed.
All right, I'm very tired. I had 2 cups of coffee. I thought I'd be more not tired, but I am tired. And I got to study for an exam still tonight. So, the RIC council meeting happened on the 9th, so almost a month ago. I kind of forgot about what was talked about it, but mainly the big discussion, aka kind of an argument, was about commencement. And the idea that he brought up, I can't say his name, I will butcher it. But I will butcher the name, so I'm not even going to try to attempt it. But he has devised a plan to combine both PhD, master's, and the bachelor's degree ceremonies, and also the spring ceremony is still in question, the winter graduation ceremony is also in discussion of being combined into one. Now you're going to sit here and be like, great, we're going to have an 8-hour ceremony. But the idea behind it is that the only way that this will be successful will be if the people that they train follow it to a key. Because the idea is that the speakers are going to have a certain amount of time to speak. If they go over it, that's out of their control. They game plan for the fact that you got 5 minutes to speak. Say your spiel, 5 minutes is out, you got it. He mentioned that the only 2 people he can't control are the keynote and the president. And he mentioned that to the president, he goes, if I can, I will. If granted the permission to time those people also. But the idea is that the speakers cause the biggest problem. They tend to speak longer than they should and make it about them. The second thing is the marshals that they appoint to be in charge of seating, direction, moving students tend to not take it very seriously, and they need to take it more seriously. And the fact that they're going to make students move faster when walking in. And hopefully, the idea is that if they combine them, that students seeing people walk with PhDs and masters in their degrees will possibly make some of them strive to do the same. I think he came up with an idea that all day ceremonies would last 3 hours and 33 minutes. That's all of them combined, if everything works to a T. The one bachelor's lasted 3 hours and 37 minutes. So you're probably going to sit here and wonder if you can actually do that. It's a lot of math and a lot of time breaking up into time frames. At the RIC Council meeting next week, we're going to vote on whether we want to do just one ceremony or multiple ceremonies. But we are changing the way that ceremonies are going to operate, or they are at least, so that they move quicker. And like the bachelor's won't be 3 hours and 33 minutes, it'll be like 2 hours and 45 minutes instead. They're going to try to cut off an hour of those ceremonies. And the other idea was have two, but still combine the masters and the PhDs. But then you're separating friend groups and you're separating faculty and stuff like that. Double majors, you don't know where to go. That type of thing is still into question marks. And then it devolves into an argument of whether people should allow to walk early, which then I know now. But because it's been an argument, I've heard it in one of the meetings. Sorry. But that is what was the major of the topic, was commencement, because they're trying to plan for next year's commencement. I was put onto the commencement committee just because I talked at the meeting. Michael Keane is also on that, and he gave me a rundown, so he also gave us student input to that. So there are students on this, and the idea is that we just want to watch friends and family walk and not listen to people talk on and on and on and on on the stage. So that was more of the idea, and hopefully that this, because you may question this guy's method, but he's done graduations in less time at RIC at Georgia, Alabama, and other Oregon, other larger institutions than RIC, and if those commencements can move faster than ours, then we're slacking. So he has a brilliant mind, and I think that he will make this work. And I'll find out at the next RIC council meeting what the other faculty members and whatnot think about that and how they'll vote. And then I will report back to you guys in January. Again, this was a month ago. I wish I could remember everything, but I'll try to answer any questions.
Did he talk about that his name is Govinda Arthanyaki?
Yes.
It is tough to pronounce. Did he talk about capacity? Would that limit because the convention center, the Dunkin' Donuts Center tends to be pretty full with just
So unfortunately, he did mention that if this did become one thing, that students would be given one less ticket. So you normally get 5, and you'll get 1 less ticket. And of course, people can request more if they notice that somebody who gets 4 only requested 2. Those will go into a thing where I don't know how they'll give it out, that's how I mentioned that. They'll try to plan that out ahead of time so that if anybody who's only going to use 1 or 2 of their tickets, the other 2 go into open for first come, first served. But yes, that was another big question of 5 things. 5 people get 5 tickets for these things. And I think for the master's degree, I think they only did like 4, I think. Anyway, so that type of thing where maybe masters and PhD people only get 3 tickets and bachelors only get 4, that's how they would solve that problem. But again, upon special request, they can try to give out more to those who need it, but do you really need all 6 of your family members and your cousins and your godfather at your commencement, which is normally going to hopefully be live streamed too. So just thoughts that were put out there. But yes, that was a big concern.
What about
Sorry, Janelle.
Sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate it because I really pictured it. The degree ceremony being all 3 degrees being put into 1, I do not agree with because I worked hard for my master's, I worked hard for my bachelor's, I worked hard for my PhD. You put a different type amount of time into these things, so they should be not the same, they're not equivalent. My master's, my PhD in nursing is not your BSN, baby. Like, no, I'm not your director. Like, with that being said, exactly, so with that being said, I want that respect. As myself, I had law, like, as a student, I think that I deserve it because of the simple fact that I put in all that time and effort, long nights, coffee, the amount of dollars I went into it, like, all types of nonsense. Like, I don't drink coffee, but when I did, man, I'm telling you what. But seriously, like, these are things that I invested in, and again, the double major thing too, that's like, what? Like, this, I see the potential for the goodness and all that, but these ceremonies are special. I'm a first-year student. When I get my BSN, I don't want to be, like, I would be proud, as a BSN, I'd be proud as heck. I'd be like, yeah, I'm with the masters, bro. But that's like, again, what about that master's person? They worked way harder than me. Like, I don't know. Personally, I don't agree. I would definitely like to, do they take students, like, input? Because I would love for me to go over there, like, as not even part of the council, because I'd like to express myself. Other things are more like...
Well, I can answer your question on that. If they're seeing an increase in attendance at those, so then they're using the Dunkin' Donuts Center for that too. So they're using the money to do it at the Dunkin' Donuts Center when people aren't showing up.
I suggested to whether that we have our commencements and ceremonies on campus, because again, I spent...
It's cheaper to do it at the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
It's cheaper?
Because they provide all the equipment into the... No. So theoretically, they buy... So the idea is that they're renting equipment, but they do it on campus, and then they would have to have 6 or 7 backup plans, where you need a light rain, a heavy rain, a snow. For winter graduation, you need a snow, cold, heaters, those type of things. The idea is that it's cheaper to do it in the Dunkin' Donuts Center because it's just because it's getting too expensive to do it on campus. That's the idea, because that was raised by multiple faculty members that they hate going to the Dunkin' Donuts Center. They hate it. And they think that it's more expensive to do it there.
And it's more prideful to graduate from your institution. My parents will come to class with me, so I would love for them to see me walk from here as a graduate. You know, like that would fill me with pride. I don't know about anybody else, but like...
At the end of the day, they did mention that it is surprisingly cheaper to do it at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, which is why that's the route they're going.
Rob? So, Dr. Ensign, related to Dr. Ender's question asked about capacity for friends and family. What about the student capacity? I've attended 2 graduations in my time. One of them was one of my best friends, so I got a ticket. But I don't really care about that. I can watch them on YouTube or whatever. But I'm talking about the actual students down the floor, the dunk, winning for the degrees. Both years, mine was just for undergraduate, before just for undergraduate. If everyone showed up, they would not have enough room in the dunk.
Yeah.
They failed to do the dunk both years, and a lot of people didn't show up. So if they're combining everyone, where are they going to put all those bodies? Are they just going to be waiting on the hallways to dunk? That's still crowded before the graduation ceremony. Are they going to put them in the convention center? Are we going to be waiting on whatever street it's on, Salmon Square, whatever?
So to answer your question is that he has taken a mathematical factors into people skipping the ceremony, which I did bring up, and that they have more people skipping the ceremony than ever before. Both faculty and student leaving, and they don't think that the Dunkin' Donuts Center is an attractive enough thing for somebody to come to go to do it there. But it's easier due to the fact that they don't have to make rain or snow or wind or cold plans. You just do it inside. And so again, but with the increased number of people not attending graduation, and with after next year, you're going to start getting into the students that lower class numbers due to the CCRI plan. So we're going to have less students. We'll either have more from the transfers, or we'll have less due to the students going to CCRI and then going to URI. So the idea is that with our what is it called? Somebody help me with our, not membership, our retention rate and our enrollment. decrease in enrollment is that there's going to be less people graduating, unfortunately. That it shouldn't become an issue, but it has been taken into effect that it could be a problem. And obviously, I was unable to attend the meeting, but that is one of the bigger discussions of can the Dunkin' Donuts house all of that. That's why the idea they came up with 2 separate ones, but they do believe that the PhD and master ones having it separate is almost a waste of money. While I do agree that it is of importance for them to have that, but the idea is that they want these PhDs and master's people to inspire the bachelor degree people. They're going to go first. The idea is that they're going to march it up where it's going to be masters and PhDs first, so that all the undergraduates see people walking before them with masters. The idea is to encourage them and whatnot. Again, this is just the idea. I don't think it's unavoidable because there does need to be a change in commencement due to the fact that attendance is low. And they have already mentioned that they're not going back to Rick because it costs too much money. And the idea is that he has had to do outside events in Oregon and Georgia, in those big domes where he literally has to have 8 different plans, where it snows, if it rains, if it's a heavy rain, a light rain, a medium rain, a light wind, a heavy wind. Cloudy, too sunny, too hot. He has to have 10, 15 different plans to do it outside, which is why inside graduation is easier. And with a college the size of Rick, right now, the Dunkin' Donuts Center is perfect because last year they combined with another college, I believe, PC, for graduation. If they do just the one, it's just going to be Rick. They're not going to do a split cost with PC, they're just going to do just Rick. Which is another thing, Rob, is that I don't know if they were doing the split thing with PC when they were doing it at the Dunkin' Donuts. I don't think that's what they have been doing, is all their graduations have been split with PC. But
Just split into cost with
PC,
currently, it's just separate days.
Correct.
Yeah, they're not.
Thank you. So the idea is that they want to make this and doing it is just a Rick thing rather than PC also, or Rick hopping on the PC vote of using Dunkin' Donuts Center. And faculty have expressed multiple times that they want it back on Rick, but it just seems like with the financial situation that Rick is in, as I mentioned earlier, that they are at $4.5 million deficit for the year. When I talked about the budget at the Rick Council meeting in October, that they can't really be spending extra money at this point because they're already cutting costs all around campus. From my understanding, that's what's going on. And I'm just a messenger. Sorry, Chris. Just the messenger of what's happening. Rick Council meeting is, I think, next Friday. So if
It is
anybody's
next Friday.
Next Friday, if anybody's interested. I don't think it's in closed door, but I don't think they have open forum, but I will happily yield the floor to any student, whether they like it or not. I'll have to get back to you. It's normally it's here, sometimes it's in the dining room.
Should be in the faculty center.
It's in the faculty center? Okay, thank you. Faculty center. Anything else to say? Any more questions? I'll let you. Oh, no, I was just going to answer that question. That's it.
So my question was, were the PhD people, master's degree people going to go first?
I wasn't at the most current meeting, so I don't know what the final plan was. But from my understanding is that they were either going to do it by degree and have the master's people go first when the degree goes, or they were going to do masters and PhDs and then masters. Again, I wasn't at the most recent meeting to discuss commencement, but I'm just giving you the information that I do have from the council meeting. Dr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, I just wanted to add another consideration because I was one of those faculty that I was very upset when we moved to the Dunkin' Donuts Center. And I think that seniors should be on campus for their last event. But one thing that was explained to me, also helped to convince, was that every major official in the state of Rhode Island is here during that time. And security is getting more and more difficult to deal with. And the last time we had it here, we had snipers on the rooftops. And that, you know, given the world the way it is right now, Rick doesn't want to take responsibility for the security of all of those officials. Like it or not, it's PR for the college for them to be here, for the governor, for the speaker, you know, and everybody else. And so that is one of the considerations that went into the
It's
change.
safer inside the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, they can control for the security there, yeah.
Which goes into the cost of when renting it, so. Janelle?
I just want to say that I understand the security measure issue, but I do not think differently. They should definitely have it here. Not only would it be beneficial for the college and its future alum, but it's also beneficial to the SEC committee or other committees that want to hold concerts, programming, XYZ. If we had the materials to hold a set of commencement, we would have the materials to hold concerts, which would cut our costs a lot down the forward. So with that being said, I still believe that having it here would be probably expensive the first time around, admit, but I believe after going through it a couple of times, it would be much more rewarding in the end. But that is just my piece. I would love to be at every council meeting to hear about this more, because again, I don't know why we went to the Dunkin' Donuts Center in the first place, and I mean, Oh, and can I just also add, thank God you said that. We have so many new buildings that are now getting online and looking pretty and XYZ. Shouldn't we showcase this? Our taxpayers are paying for this, am I wrong? But hey.
You couldn't have commencement in a place where there's active construction.
Oh, no, which is also.
So between that and then Craig Lake, there's no way to do it.
But in the future.
And then you have Forestman, then going under next, and then the student union, so.
So is our real plan to get all these buildings fixed and then bring back commencement? Because if Dr. Sanchez, you doing this now, I'll tell you what, you smart. You smart, you loyal. I appreciate that. Heard. That's all.
Arthur.
All right, it's getting late. I've seen many commencement on this campus, and my personal opinion about what's better, I'll share with you. I think it should be on this campus. However, there's pragmatic reasons that it should be done. Now, I'm a short, fat guy, so I have a lot of stability on the ground. It was disappointing that the last commencement, when myself and the management team volunteered to be marshals, and I almost got knocked down 3 or 4 times from people that got their degree and left. Not everybody shares the same sentiment about the value of that degree as the people in it. That's my little lecture. However, Josh, are there additional seats on that commencement committee for people that have opposing views and maybe within this room?
I have no idea, I was just put on the committee.
I made one statement about
how I had to listen to Dave Ortiz ramble on for 45 minutes and how it was the worst experience ever. I love the dude, but I didn't even listen to him for 45 minutes. And then they were like, this dude's smart. We're going to put you on the committee. And they're like, I ended up buying people. Josh, you're on the committee. I'm like, I know.
Well, forget I'm even speaking, but there might be all things yet. And my point is simple. These are important things. And if that college is making major changes, because change has to happen, we have to change. It might be good to be part of shaping that, whether we like it or not. That's my only point. Thank you.
I was going to say something about graduation on campus, because I'm totally on that side, but before Dr. Andrus shared her little point of information, which thank you for that, because, you know, I do have a sense of pride in this school, and I think it's cool to, like, be on campus and be with your family, but I totally get this. I didn't even think about the safety aspect of that, but obviously, like, that's the most important. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Awesome.
And here I am again, and I promise this is the last time. I'm gonna do this a little unconventionally, maybe I should have typed this up better. If you flip all the way to the back of your packet, it would be the last policy revision. I got 2 of them. The first page is the first one, but I'm not the first page of the packet, but the first side of it, of that one page. So the first one I want to go over is our capital improvement policy. I'm waiting for my finance commission / parliamentarian Lexi Flossie to be in the room. So we have the capital improvement policy, that's found on page 10. If you have a binder in front of you, which I'm sorry, Derek, we'll let you one, you will see, well, we won't, but anyway, you'll see on page 10 of our funding policies that our capital improvement policy, line 2, says, this is the current policy as it stands, is present quotes no less than 3, no more than 5, not less than 3, but no more than 5 companies to the Finance Commission on an allocation request form. So I believe that language is not very descriptive of like what kind of like quotes can I bring? Like, can I bring a quote of like a Mercedes and like a rundown Honda or like type of deal? So with that being said, I wanted more specific wording, and I apologize for my bold. I would, if I could amend it to not be bold, and we could ignore the boldness of that. But my actual revision is adding some language there, so it would be it would go with what I just read before. I don't want to read it again. The presented quotes must be of comparable specifications and service. Just adding this language is necessary. This passed through my commission, the Finance Commission, on November 28th. They were more than willing, and they even helped me write it even better. If you want to read my rationale, that is literally like what we came out of the meeting with. But I will say that this is the second revision, but in all reality, this is something that we need for the future, so that clubs do not make a case to get overpriced items and objects. We're not here to like get Mercedes for every club. So with that being said, we would like to have them to be all specific to the same type of specifications in order to get the deals if there is any for said item. So anybody have any discussion on that? Because I would love to hear it.
Any discussions?
Do I have to approve, like, vote on each one? Or okay, and then we're going to flip over to the other side so I can just explain that bad boy really fast. So we see on our excess revenue line item,